Hey everyone, I'm Brittany Jones Cooper. Welcome back to Build in a very, very snowy New York City. Station 19 is a brand new drama, executive produced by hitmaker Shonda Rhimes, so you know it's probably gonna be good. The show stars Jaina Ortiz and Jason George as firefighters trying to balance their professional and personal lives. Let's take a look at a clip from tomorrow's series premiere.
I chose to stop being a surgeon.
You know, I used to open people up.
Okay, we got that.
It takes guts.
Cut somebody open. My daughter's got guts. She needs no one.
Watch for active flame. The white stuff on the red stuff! Captain, I lost your dad.
What? Get over here! The captain doesn't have a pulse.
Flames at the door!
We're getting out of here. So we jump.
Fire fry.
You got him out. You can breathe now.
All right, let's go.
He collapsed, resuscitated on the scene.
You left him in the middle of the fire!
I know!
Andy, I heard your dad was down here. Come with me. Okay, that's enough. Now put your game face on.
I have to step down as captain effective immediately.
If you have to step down, I want to step up. I know I can lead.
You're about as badass as they come. You've literally been training your entire life.
You slept with Ryan? Best friend since diapers, Ryan.
Go after that. He's hot. Except there's Chad.
You guys hear that?
Dibs on the puppy.
You can't call dibs on the puppy.
I just did.
I do this job because I love it. Every fire put out, every life saved. We're Seattle firefighters. Station 19 is where we choose to be.
Station 19.
All right, guys, keep it going for Jaina and Jason. Yeah.
That's sexy.
Now that is tough right there. I would trust you to
Hi, guys.
save me. Okay, so first, you guys are shooting in LA, right?
Yes.
But you came to New York on like the worst possible.
We brought the LA weather with us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I'm from the Bronx, New York. I do not miss this.
No.
No.
I live here and I unfortunately have to suffer with it every day. But
You're all in here just to stay warm, aren't you?
Right.
You just walking off the street.
I was gonna say,
All
we'll
about
keep
the
them
layers.
entertained for the next 20 minutes or so. So
Right.
first, we just watched a trailer from Station 19. It looks like typical Shondaland, just like drama and action. It's finally debuting this week. How does that feel just to like let people see it?
I don't know how it feels. I can't feel anything, if that makes any sense. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's, 2 days, right?
Yeah, well, tomorrow.
2 days.
Tomorrow night.
Thursday.
It's going down.
I mean, I'm excited, but I'm nervous. I want people to like it. I have no control. The only thing we have control over is our performances, what we do.
What we do. They
And we
got us
have a lot
running.
of fun,
That's the
yeah.
fun part is that right now, because right now everybody else is on set. So we'll like text back to them and that sort of thing. So they got us busy, and that's the thing, so we don't focus on, what you guys think.
And they keep it a secret. Like, we try to find out what will happen with our characters or the storyline, and they don't say a word. We get the script like a day, maybe a day or two before we shoot the episode. So it's a big surprise, and we're always...
That's standard Shondaland. Shonda has ninjas that come down from the ceiling if you give up secrets and
It makes
take
it
you
exciting. Yeah.
We just saw a trailer for the show, but can you take people just a little bit through what they can expect?
Well, you can expect, life-threatening situations. I mean, firefighters don't only respond to fires; we respond to car accidents,
You fell down in your house, you can't get up.
shots fired. Exactly.
So there's everything from the ridiculous to the completely life-threatening, like you were saying.
But most important, like it's less about the fire station and fighting fires, if you will. It's more about the characters, which I think exists in the Grey's Anatomy universe as well. It's about the interns and the doctors and the sex and the drama,
And your character is Andy.
Andy.
And she's our protagonist.
Yes.
But tell us about Andy, because she is a fireball, pun intended.
Right. No, she's a badass, and everyone on Shonda shows are badass, right? But she's second generation firefighter. She's a natural born leader, true warrior. She takes after her dad, and she's an alpha female. She's not afraid to stand up and speak up for what she wants. She's not intimidated by men. And yeah, I mean, what else? She's like, she's an onion. You'll get to peel back layers and layers, and behind all that strength and courage, there's a lot of vulnerability. She's going through a lot with, her love life and her dad.
In a little love triangle.
Right, she's in a love triangle. She's got the career on point, but her love life is a bit of a hot mess.
Aren't they all?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, like happens.
Makes sense.
And then so I've been watching Grey's Anatomy since day one. Like I am
Thank you.
Loyal fan. So I know a little bit about your character, Ben. But for those who have never met him, what is he like?
So Ben is a surgeon. He was an anesthesiologist. Met a woman that he fell in love with. She inspired him, so he went back and became a resident, to become a surgeon. He became a surgeon. But then he decided to pursue firefighting because it scares the hell out of him, because there's great medical challenges in that. So he's that guy who runs after the thing that scares him the most. And he's a bit of an adrenaline junkie. It's gotten him in trouble as a doctor. Cut a dude open with a clipboard, cut a woman open in the hallway.
Saved her baby, though.
No, that time didn't save the baby.
Damn.
That time didn't save the baby. Okay. Cut my friend open in a kitchen.
That one.
Save that baby.
Yeah.
Right? That was the important baby to save. No, but then so he becomes a firefighter, and the fun thing is that he's got plenty of life experience. He's done a lot of things in his life, but he's the new firefighter. He's the rookie. He's the new guy. And so it's fun playing somebody who's got the courage and confidence to start over in something that they're passionate about. And then also, but still have that, there are moments that we have, these scenes that we enjoy where she sees him as a person, and then he goes back to being the new guy again. It's like, oh, you're a grown-ass man, and we can talk about stuff. Okay, new guy, we're done with that now. Right. Back to work.
He's starting over like in his early 40s,
right.
And so that is like a really big shift.
Right, and it's a fire station, so fire stations, are incredibly competitive, and you got to know your job. If you don't, people die. So the learning curve is steep, and people give you a lot of crap if you're not on point. So he's learning very quickly as time goes on.
So this is a spin-off of Grey's Anatomy. So your character is leaving Grey's Anatomy and coming over to Station 19. We first met Andy, actually, in an episode of Grey's Anatomy, which it sort of made me chuckle because I was like, is it a Shondaland initiation for you to have your hand stuck in somebody's body? Because the same thing happened to Meredith Grey, and I kind of love that. I told you, I'm like a big Shondaland fan. But I love that they tied in those little things that were similar, but then obviously you're a whole new character. And so doing that spin-off, how did that all happen? How did you guys get tapped to be a part of this?
I never met that kid, by the way.
It's like, I'm going to put my hand inside of your fake stomach.
Yeah, it was a yeah. I mean, maybe I shouldn't have shared that, but I never met the kid. I met him on TV when I saw the episode, whatever. So how did it all start? Sorry, to answer your question. When I had a meeting with Shonda Rhimes and her producing partners. By the way, Shonda's like the most intimidating woman you will ever meet. And I mean that in a good way. She owns a night of TV, right? So I was nervous in the meeting, and it was for this other show, and I walked out, and a couple of days later I got a call from my agents. And they said, we don't want you. They didn't, you weren't quite the perfect fit for that show, but Shonda wants to put you as the lead on this Grey's Anatomy spinoff. And I had no idea what they were talking about. My husband, who's a writer for The Gifted on Fox, he's all up on Deadline and Variety. He knows everything that's going on. And he freaked out because I had them on speaker, and he knew how big of a deal that was, and so I started freaking out. I mean, as soon as they said, "Oh, Shonda Rhimes wants you," I didn't even let them finish the sentence. Just yes. Where do you want me? When? What do I have to do? Right. So when I found out, it was sealed, and then I didn't know. 3 months later was when we actually started filming. So I didn't know what the show was about. I didn't know anything about my character. So for 3 months, I was just sort of like twiddling my thumbs. I did go and do some research because I did know I was playing a firefighter.
And then did you know a little sooner? Because your character is sort of like an integral part of this whole spin-off.
No, actually, I knew a little, probably a few days after you did. Because I was on vacation and I got a phone call and it was, Shonda Rhimes and Betsy Beers, who's, Shonda Rhimes' producing partner, who's like, her work wife. Want to give you a call at 5 o'clock. Would that be okay? And I'm like, who says no to that call? You don't.
Right, you don't.
You don't say no to that. So they called and they were like, we think we want to pull Ben onto this new show. And I was like, I got nervous, for a second, for the hour it took before them to call, I was like, am I getting kicked off the show? What's going on?
No.
And then we got the call and it's like, I am getting kicked off the show onto another show. And it was a cool conversation. I think you had just signed on a couple of days before, but yeah, then we had to sit for 3 months waiting to find out exactly how this whole thing goes.
Right.
All we knew was that it was firefighters. And so, I was still, I finished up my vacation and I was like, this is weird. I got a new gig.
Is it sad to have to leave the old gig and start something new?
You know what's funny is the episode of Grey's where Andy Herrera is introduced. Our writers are so fantastic. There's a moment that completely, life imitating art because Ben's decided that he's going to do this thing. He's pursuing this thing, and then he's missing it a little bit while he's in the hospital. He's like, oh, I'm not in the action anymore. It's weird. And he said, I was after this thing so much, I never thought about what I'd be giving up. And Bailey says to him, oh, you thought about it plenty. You just didn't take the time to feel it. And that's exactly how I felt the day. My girl was with me, the day.
I was emotional. I was very emotional.
I was more emotional than I expected to be, because I was like, I knew that, there'd be crossover between Grey's and Station 19. So I was like, I'll be back here in a couple of weeks. It'll be fine. It'll be no big deal. But first
saying
off,
goodbye to a family.
You're not here anymore. You're not here every day. You're saying goodbye. It's like when you're leaving home, even if it's to go to college across town, you're leaving home.
Right.
You're packing up your stuff. You don't live here no more. Your mom's gonna put a treadmill in your room. That's how that goes. So it had that feeling where it felt really a little more emotional than I expected.
And you have to kind of make new friends and build a new family, which will happen, but it takes time.
Yeah, and it's not a fun cast. They're not good people on Station 19.
Well, I was gonna ask, you guys spend, how long are these days? Like 15-hour days? I know they're incredibly long, probably.
Fortunately, they haven't been that bad.
Okay.
They've been between 12 to 15 is our no, I take it back.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like, no,
we've done worse.
worse.
We have done worse. Not that often though.
So how do you guys feel that time? Obviously, you're not shooting every second of that time. So what happens behind the scenes?
We hydrate. Seriously.
Yeah, we do. No, seriously, we're the gear that we wear, the firefighter gear. It weighs about 70 pounds, so we are drenched. When I tell you we're drenched, during lunch I have to change my clothes underneath. That's how soaked everyone is. Everyone. So yeah, we stay hydrated. We drink about a gallon of water a day when we're in the gear, and it's it's taxing on the bodies. That's just like the most physically challenging part of the show.
Yeah, which is great, but there's a lot. It's actually a fantastic group. You've got a couple of our cast are Broadway, royalty. Barrett Doss Barrett did Groundhog's Day on Broadway, and Oak Alcariete did this little show you may have heard of called Hamilton. He was Hercules Mulligan and
amazing voices.
Madison from there.
So
and
talented.
so occasionally the two of them will just start like harmonizing in the corner, and we all pretend like we're not, because if you pay attention, they stop. So you got to enjoy it, but pretend like you got to lean over and listen like this. You can't. If you look at them, they stop. It's like deer or something like that.
That's amazing. That's so cool. And you mentioned something about a chicken suit.
We surprised Barrett with a chicken on her birthday. A guy dressed in a chicken suit, and it was the most funny, embarrassing thing.
The new thing has become hazing people on their birthday. Like I don't really do my birthday, and everything descended on my birthday. The cake and everything came out, and then Jay's birthday came up right after that, and
Danielle and I filled Jay's trailer with 100 balloons, confetti, everything. It was just filled.
Annie upped, and then Barrett's birthday comes along, and they got a guy in a chicken suit comes and sings to her and makes some balloon stuff, and it's literally the most surreal thing. Like production stopped, everybody was like, "What the hell is happening?"
Yeah.
What is there's a man in a chicken suit, like with the thickest New York accent you've ever heard, and it's like, New York chicken.
So they're all
Yep.
kind of
Sure.
nice pranks right now.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're
nice pranks,
upping,
nice
they're
pranks.
getting bigger
I
and
was gonna
bigger,
say,
so I don't know where it's going to
in
end.
6 months where these things are going to go.
Right.
So you mentioned that the gear you wear is really heavy. What other things have sort of surprised you about what firefighters have to kind of go through and experience day to day?
I mean, that's the main thing for me. As a female, I know. I mean, I've met with 2 female captains, and they it's tough for them. You know, they
Because it's so male dominated.
right, and so it's not just about being physically strong. You have to have thick skin because you know they treat it like a boys' club.
Twice as good to get
here-
half as far.
Right. And so, I mean, that's pretty much. What about you?
I mean, for me, it's a far more intellectual job. Not intellectual is the wrong word. They have to know so much more than you think. You think they just got to put water on the fire and bring the rooms, but the reality is they have to know the architecture of the buildings in this section of town because you have to know how the fire can move through the building. You have to know what it is, what kind of properties you're going to be dealing with, what's going to be toxic, what's not going to be toxic, that sort of thing. And so, but then so all that stuff was like, oh, a really steep learning curve on that. But then the other piece for me was all these people have big hearts.
Yeah.
Like they have big, big hearts. And when you see, these like, strapping men and women, they can carry all this junk and drag people out of buildings and these stories that are insane where they ran into fires and then they get all teary-eyed because they're talking about their mentor from the fire station. When Scott, one of our technical advisors, was showing us a documentary that had been done about the station that he was in Detroit, and they showed this, this older black gentleman. He's like, "That's my house, Dad." And he started getting all like misty, and he was like, he taught me to be a firefighter, but more importantly, he taught me to be a man. And it was like, and that's the level of family that it becomes. And you start to see that, and so it raised the whole level of respect for what these people do to a whole new level for us, you know what I mean?
Right. And that's what I think shows on Station 19. It's not only just about what we do on the job, but what happens after we clock out? Like, how do we deal with family, with love? How do we go on a first date after witnessing someone die?
I was going to say,
You
it's
know?
one of the most stressful jobs ever. And you undoubtedly take that stuff home with you, even if you try to leave it at the station, I'm sure.
Right. It's given us such a bigger appreciation and respect for the first responders.
Yeah, hugely. And it makes for a great story because the reality is, look, I'm a Navy brat. So I know a little something about, mom or dad goes off, does some stuff that they can't talk about. You know what I mean? Or if they talk about, it'll freak you out.
Right.
So now there's this secret, this barrier between us, this
Right.
huge part of their life they can't talk about because you worry, and you're worried. And so they don't, so you push each other away in that respect. So that makes for really great drama, but really, tough problems for our characters in their personal lives.
And it explains why that station becomes like a family, really, because they can't really unload that stuff on
Right.
kids and
They understand.
spouses. And
Yeah. And plus they also they're 24-hour shifts. So you literally eat together and sleep together. And if you sleep in the same house, maybe you end up sleeping together.
Yeah. Right.
But because, it is a Shonda show.
Right. And I understand what it's like coming from, my dad's a retired homicide detective in the Bronx, New York. And what he's seen, he's barely shared anything with me. I don't think he'll ever, but.
It's going to protect you from
Right,
that. Yeah,
right.
exactly. The show's very physical as well. We see a lot of people jumping out of flames, buildings.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would imagine you guys can't do all of your stunts just legally, but how much do you get to do?
I love doing all my stuff, my stunts. I used to be a professional salsa dancer, so I pick up on choreography pretty quickly. But in this scenario, with the fire, with all the gear, let me tell you something. You could barely see our faces. I'm like, go ahead, double, do your thing. And then we work with real fire too. It's not just VFX. So it's super hot. And I'm like, you guys, you have fun. You go ahead. I'm good.
Employ a stunt person. But, look, we do as much as we can. I've gotten yelled at because, Scott, our technical advisor, he figured out very quickly that he's like, you would be a truckie. A truckie would be somebody who's on the ladder truck, the truck that pulls up with the 100-foot ladder that goes up, because I'm jumping around on that thing and climbing up that ladder, and I get yelled at because they don't want us to, insurance wants you to go 5 steps up the ladder and then cut.
And this one wants to go 30.
I'm like 30 feet up. They're like, Jace, seriously, stop, come back down. And I'm like, and I've climbed the 100-foot ladder before, and around 75 feet, it gets a little nerve-wracking because it's bouncing.
That's very Ben of you, by the way.
Like, well, it's I that's something Ben and I have in common is the adrenaline is the drug of choice.
So in this Shondaland world, there's a lot of big people. We've got Viola, got Ellen Pompeo, Kerry Washington, and you're now
Jaina Ortiz.
Yes, you're now joining those ranks, and so I would imagine that's intimidating, but also just really empowering and cool.
Yes,
So how does that make you
all of
feel
that
that you
together.
kind of get to be on your Thursday night slot
It's
and be the female face of the show?
empowering. Like I feel, I mean, it's not even, I can't even think of it as me. I look at this poster and I'm like, that's a girl I want to be. That's a girl I look up to, you know? I seriously. And so
It's a girl that I look up to.
oh, you're so sweet. You know, we're superheroes. We're real superheroes. And for Shonda to have women sort of be the superheroes in our own stories, that's really special. And as a Latina, you know, we need more Latinas in media, women and minorities in general. And so it's incredibly inspiring. This is just like another door of opportunity for me to open for other girls to, you know, step right in.
And this is a silly question, but these women are also strong and smart. Who do you think would win in a game of Scrabble?
In Station 19?
Like Olivia,
Oh.
Annalise, Andy,
definitely not me.
and Meredith.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you know what? I think Annalise.
I was just
think
gonna
so?
say.
Well,
I
I
was
mean,
just gonna say,
she's a lawyer. You know, I
Right.
mean, right there, she had to go through law school. Like, you know, she had to learn Latin.
Meredith
Yeah.
is a doctor.
Right, you know, but you don't. There's something about, you know, there's something about the legal profession that I think the brain works a lot more in terms of the words. Wordsmithing is your job as a lawyer, whereas a doctor, the words are to describe. You know how the body works. You know science.
well, I'll tie.
I think maybe Andy would win in an arm wrestling contest, though.
Yes.
All
yes,
day.
All day.
All day,
All day.
every day. All right, I think it's a good time to go to audience questions before I keep talking about arm
Hi.
wrestling.
I know.
Hello. I wanted to know, since this is a Grey's Anatomy spinoff, how do you think Station 19 would be in a Scandal or How to Get Away with Murder spinoff?
Oh wow. I don't know that there's going to be because I don't know that because for a while it was very distinctly acknowledged that Greys didn't live in the same universe as Scandal or How to Get Away with Murder. Partially because the vice president and the chief of staff, the original chief of staff on Scandal, were Meredith Grey's parents on Grey's Anatomy. So it gets Dad, you're back. It's great. Kate Burton and Jeff Perry, fantastic actors, by the way. But that's another one of the things that we love about Shondaland is once you show up, if you're good at your job and you're not a jerk, you'll continue. They're going to put you back into the game somewhere along the ways, which is a beautiful thing to know that someday somebody might find a job for you. But so I don't know that we'll ever end up doing a Station 19.
However, it's Shondaland. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
Never know. The How to Get Away with Scandal night was
Right.
pretty
Yeah.
great.
That was
I never
dope.
saw those two
That
worlds
was dope.
coming together, and there you go. So you never
See,
know.
that one they could.
Yeah.
Get away with Scandal. Ooh, you're good.
That was the hashtag. I didn't make that up.
Oh.
That was what was
Am I late? I'm just
trending
late.
on
I'm
Twitter.
just-
Brittany, no, I saw it. Yeah.
I should have claimed it. I know.
on it. You're-
It's one Google search like she lied. Who's next?
Hi.
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 Congratulations on the new show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So my question is two parts. The first one is, what is your dream role? And if you can work with anyone in Hollywood, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
That's a good one. Well, this is one of my dream roles, for sure. Hands down. Another one of my dream roles would be Charlize Theron in Monster. I love that movie. And not because I'm in the Shondaland family, part of TGIT. This has nothing to do. I met Carrie, I met Ellen, but I haven't met Viola, and I am a Viola Davis. I think I would cry when I meet her. And so I would want to work with her because she is just, I believe her. She is so real and raw. She can never, I could go on and talk about her, so go ahead.
I'm gonna make sure to be there when that happens and video it.
Oh my God, you don't
Please.
understand.
So watch the gram because it's coming. We see
Like forever.
the snot, the whole thing. My dream roles. Look, Grey's Anatomy was the first time I ever saw a show and said, I really need to be on that show, and then ended up on that show. There are other shows that I've said that about, and it never came to pass. So that was definitely one of those dream situations, was to get into Shondaland in the first place. And the fact that it's kept going, and I'm still playing that character years later, and having the chance to help build a new show from the ground up is a dream come true. The jokes that and they're not really jokes, but it's real. I want to be a superhero running around in some cool, not tights, but uniform or something like that. A little kid in me, right?
Black Panther 2.
I'm saying, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm just saying. It's all I did when I first discovered acting, I did a Shakespeare play, Titus Andronicus, and played. It's one of the lesser known Shakespeare plays, one of the not as well written Shakespeare plays. But there's a character in it that I think is just amazing named Aaron the Moor that I just scratched the surface of at the time. So I'd love to, now that I actually have a better sense of what the heck I'm doing in here, I'd love it, I'd love a second shot at that on stage to go after that. Yeah.
I love that. I think we all have jobs that we're like, I would just love to go back and do that better.
If I knew then what I knew now.
Exactly.
Right.
That's a good one. I think we have one last question.
So since you mentioned superheroes, Marvel says that the next Avengers movie is the most ambitious crossover event ever. What do you think Station 19 and Grey's Anatomy could do to compete?
Oh.
Wow. I mean, Grey's has done it all, seriously. They've had bombs and shootings, and how could you even go bigger than that?
I think that I think somewhere down the line, and granted, this is literally nothing to do with anything the writers have ever mentioned or anything like that. I think someday there's going to be a catastrophic accident, fire at some place where perhaps at the hospital or something. I mean, we had a fire at the hospital as a season finale last year, and I think they could, if that same sort of scenario arose. Imagine how great a couple of hours of television that would be, is if Gray Sloan were on fire.
Our writers, I was just going to say, our writers are so smart. They're probably planning that right now.
I have no doubt.
Or flip it, and a building's on fire, and all the doctors have to go there, so they have no supplies, and they're saving a firefighter. I'm just saying, put me in the writing room, we can make some magic. Yeah. Well,
Amazing.
guys,
Get Brittany in the room.
I mean,
I know.
I know Shondaland.
Yeah.
I know it.
have to
That's
come
why I'm
to
very
LA.
excited to watch Station 19. It debuts tomorrow.
Thank you. Tomorrow.
At 9/8 Central on ABC.
Oh, it's
Guys,
going
give it
down.
up one more
Don't have
time
cable.
for
Go to
Jason
your
and
friend's
Jaina.
house.
Thank you, guys.